Hello! Today I'm going to make a really simple drink that I'm sure all of you have ever heard of before. It's called a cosmopolitan. It's obviously came to fame with, kind of Sex and the City and all that type of stuff. But it's actually a really delicious cocktail. Basically, my go-to philosophy for cocktails is when in doubt, go with a pink cocktail. They tend to be really sweet and they look super girly, but they're always, always delicious. And a Cosmo is a really simple one that most bartenders are going to know how to make, and it's going to be a good drink. Also, I personally like Cosmos because they are not overly sweet. There is a nice bit of tartness in there, so I just find them delicious. And they're actually really easy to make at home. It's just 4 ingredients. It's Citron Vodka. I'm using Absolute Citron because it was on sale, so might as well get it. And then Cointreau, cranberry juice. I'm actually using cranberry juice cocktail, which is a sweet juice that you can just get in any grocery store. If you don't, you want to get the actual juice cocktail because it actually does have some sweetener in it. And this is the only thing that's adding sweetness to this drink at all. Without any sort of sweetness, it's going to be very tart and not very drinkable. So if you prefer the kind of unsweetened plain cranberry juice, that's what you have at home, you want to add some simple syrup or something to sweeten it up, because this is the only thing that's adding any sort of sweet to this cocktail. And then lime juice. Again, I'm using the pre-squeezed lime juice because I don't feel like squeezing a whole bunch of limes. You can do whatever you want. Cocktail purists always say, no, you have to squeeze it fresh. That's the only way it's going to work. That's not true. This works fine. It's going to taste delicious. Don't worry about it. Whatever you have on hand is the way to go. Let me pull up my recipe because I can't remember this one off the top of my head. So again, I'm using my measuring shot glass. You really can't tell, but it does actually have measurements on this. They've kind of washed away as I've washed the drink, or washed the glass, but this is what I use to measure. So it is, let's start with the vodka. 1 1/3 ounces vodka. I'm actually making 2 of these, one for me, one for my husband. So I'm going to double this recipe. So 2 2/3 vodka. And then 1/2 ounce of Cointreau. I guess I could have just done that in one. Oh well. Whatever. 1/2 ounce lime juice. And 1 ounce of the cranberry juice. And now let's get some ice. Since there's liquid for 2 cocktails in here, I'm going to put in 4 or 5 ice cubes. Then make sure you get the top on here tight, and this little top that goes over the strainer part, make sure that that's on tight too. You definitely want to hold this and give it a good shake. Really shake it up good. I love seeing those ice crystals that float in the top of cocktails, so that's why I really like to shake it up good. There's also chemistry and science behind shaking cocktails. It aerates the liquid and gives it more flavor, and that's why you actually really want to give it a good shake and not just kind of this little tinkle that I see some people do. Take the top off and pour it. Eyeball it into the 2 different glasses. And this one's just a fun one to make because it's so pretty. It's such a pretty pink color. and it tastes delicious as well. And of course, it is not a cocktail without a garnish. I just cut some little lime wheels out of a lime that I had. I personally don't like to kind of add it at the edge of the cocktail glass, you know, like this. I think that looks kind of weird sometimes. I like to float my limes in the top of the cocktail. I think it looks really pretty this way. I don't know if you can see that. Pouring it. But you can just get that really good contrast between the green of the lime and then the pink of the cocktail, and it's just so pretty. So that's what I like to do with my citrus wheels. Now let's taste it. Oh, that's just delicious and refreshing. There's enough sweetness that it's not too tart, but the lime juice and the Citron Vodka really give it that kind of sweet and tart duo that I really like. And this is not overpoweringly sweet because the only sweetness, like I said, is coming from the cocktail juice or the cranberry juice. Everything else isn't super sweet, so it's really nicely balanced cocktail. And it's a really fun one to make at home with, you know, pretty simple ingredients. So if you go ahead and make one, let me know how it turned out. Cheers!